just listened to KSI Thick of It for my first time. I sat down and I listened to the entire song. I didn't sit there on like, TikTok. I don't even have a TikTok. Or Instagram where you listen to, pieces of the song. I sat down, listened to the entire thing. Listen to 80% of his second album and his entire first album. And I'm here to give genuine criticism on KSI. Not one of these poop tubers where they like to sit here and just beat down on somebody and just talk trash on someone's music. And this is the worst thing ever, blah, 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 blah. With not even anything to take from just garbage, 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 and not tell you why it's garbage. Like, this is coming from a guy, again, been listening to rap my entire life, been listening to music my entire life. I'm from New York, Big Pun, DMX, M on my phone. Anyway, here's the point I'm gonna make. KSI Thick of It. Is it as bad as people say it is? No, and that's only because he has an album called Dissimilation, which is godly horrifying in every single which way you can. I don't know, but it's horrible. But here's the point of Thick of It. I do want to say this much before we get into his entire discography and answer the question whether or not KSI is as bad as people make him out to be. Thick of It. The problem with that song is lyrically he's not the worst per se. I don't think the beat choice was the worst either. I think that the worst part of the song that absolutely just obliterates everything that he went for is the whoa, this is how the story goes. That part was like some Kids' Choice Awards shit, dog. Like, that was something you would hear at Adventureland. That it's like a Kids Bop bonus. Guys, buy the new Kids Bop DVD, the CD, and we have KSI as a bonus feature. Like, that was so bad. It was bad. It wasn't unlistenably horrendous, but it was everybody's gonna point and laugh at it. But the reason why people are pointing and laughing at it is because it's cringe in the fact that KSI for the first time is being himself, which is a good step in a great direction. Now, what do I mean by that? If you listen to his first album called Dissimilation, the biggest problem with KSI is he is everybody but himself. Go listen to Dissimilation. It's his first record. And the entire album sounds like he heard trap, said, I like this noise, and now I'm going to make an entire album based off of this one noise. And it's an entire trap album with $2 million worth of features. I think he had Future on there. It's so forgettable that I can't even remember most of it, and I just listened to it only a few hours ago. It is pretty much a dime a dozen. I've heard this a million times before. Nothing really to gain from it. It's just another trap album, but it's so horrendous in the fact that it does nothing right that other trap albums have done. I mean, it's lyrically inept. It's just so bad. It's all bad on all regards, lyrically, and some of the beats don't even hit. It's just weird that a guy from the UK is even attempting trap, spends millions of dollars on features, and just nothing. It's just nothing. There's nothing there I would ever listen to again. I don't think it's as bad as Ice Spice's album. Ice Spice's album, I gave a 0.5. If I were to genuinely rate this out of a 10, Dissimilation, his first album, I couldn't see anybody giving it more than a 2 out of 10. Anything, I think, if I was feeling generous, I would put it in the 2s. On just pure generosity, right? I wouldn't put it above a 2, but if you were feeling generous, you had a great day, you woke up, had a great breakfast, you hit the gym, your gears are going, you got a raise at work, everything is just great, then you'd put it in the 2s. Me personally, I got to give it a 1.1. I can't quite give it the 0.7, 0.8. Now, the reason I give it a 1.1 is because it's not that it's uninspired, it's that it's too inspired. There's nothing here to listen to. You're not listening to KSI. You are listening to a guy, right? Because you could have put anybody in this position. There's nothing that makes this KSI. There's nothing. There is no personality. This is just, I heard a noise. I'm making an entire album based upon it. I'm going to throw everything out there. And the biggest problem with this album in KSI's career is smothered pork chop. Smothered pork chop? What does he mean by smothered pork chop? KSI has this thing where he takes his vocals and he drenches it in auto-tune. Like if his vocals were a person, he grabbed it by the neck and just drowned it in auto-tune. Just, it's like a smothered pork chop. You ever have a smothered pork chop? You just drown it in gravy. Like, oh my God, there's a pork chop in my gravy. Why is that? So you got these vocals and why is there vocals in my auto-tune? Why does he keep doing that? Stop! Please. Enough with the auto-tune. Dude, what are you doing? It's not even like a little bit. It's like just drowning. There was this one song where it was him and two features. I didn't know who was who. They all had this such a high amount of auto. I didn't know who was who. I thought I was on the track. I was like, I don't remember spitting this. I thought I was there. It was insane. It was just so much auto tune. Not to say auto tune is bad. Auto tune can work. It can work. Auto tune can work. We have seen time and time again from Kanye, T-Pain. Auto tune can work. Okay, it can. But you can't make an album where everybody on there was just auto-tune, 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 auto-tune. I don't even know what you sound like. I have those songs, I don't even know if it's you. It could have been anybody. And then the amount of auto-tune you use is so horrendous. It's like you're drowning the entire album in auto-tune. Why? And then you go on to his second album. I listened to 80 to 90% of it. It's so much better. It's so much better. Okay, so he still has a little bit of a trap in there. Still a little bit of trap. But then he has like pop songs in there. But the pop songs, again, sound inspired, right? And not inspired as in like self-reflection, as in he felt like this inspiration in his chest and he was like, oh, I gotta get this out there. It was inspired by like he heard a sound and he's like, I want to make a song like that. It's the worst type of inspiration. That is the worst inspiration. That to me is the worst thing you can do, is hear a song and say, I want to make a song like that. That is the worst thing you can do in music, in my opinion. Like, when it comes to hip-hop, it's about hearing a sound, sampling it, taking it, chopping it, flipping it, editing it to make it your sound, adopting the sound and creating it to be your own. That's the beauty of hip-hop. But to just take a sound and say, it's mine now, it's mine. Flip it, cut it, chop it, slice it, color it. Sprinkle something on there. You don't just take a sound. And so many people have been doing that nowadays. Oh my God. Holy, I don't know what that is. It's like the past 5-6 years, you notice that people are just taking hooks from like 2002, 2003. Just robbing these guys who made these hooks. It's like you're just taking it. You're not even like, it's so like, wow. And that is part of hip hop. That's not something that's new, but it's become something that happened, once in a while versus happening every single time. And you got these entire songs and albums that like this one, where it's like every single song sounds like he got signed by a major label, and the major label was like, yo, you don't have any hits. That's a problem. So what we're going to do, we're going to get a writing team. We're going to write up a hit that sounds like that hit, and we're going to see how it does. That's what half this album sounds like, his second one. And then you got some trap noises. Then you had this one song. You had this one song on there. Everybody, if you got this far in the video, please listen to this song. It's called Madness. It's KSI's song. It's called Madness. Very good. I liked it, guys. I like this song called Madness. I believe it's on his second album. It's a very good song because for the first time, KSI, it seemed like he felt something. Like he was pissed. It was one of those responding to critics. Yep, it's on his second album called All Over the Place. He was responding to critics and, he had an inspiration. Like he felt a fire. He felt the fire for the first time. He wasn't inspired by him, her, Boots with Fur. He was inspired by himself. He's like, you know what? He was on some Eminem kamikaze. He's like, yo, I'm firing back. I'm not going to sit here and take this. And, it wasn't like, lyrically the greatest thing ever, but he had passion in that song. It came from him. That was his song. That's his song. His best song he's made. I liked it. I unironically like Madness by KSI, and I don't think you should like him ironically. I think everybody should give him a fair shot. I think that he's trying to do something with his career, and I believe giving him fair pointers is a thing you should do. I don't think he's trying to make horrible music. I don't think that's what his intent is. I mean, you have rappers out there that are just trying to make horrible music for the point of it being horrible, so therefore it's funny. But you got this guy who's actually trying to give it his best shot. I just think that he started a little bit too late. I mean, the guy's in his 30s. I don't know how he grew up with music, because it's different. You know what I'm saying? I'm from New York, so I grew up with, DMX, Jay-Z, M50, Notorious B.I.G., Pun, Big L, Nas, Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap. I grew up with all these different sounds. So Jadakiss, The Lox, Lauryn Hill, the list goes on and on. So I'm used to these sounds. I know what it's supposed to sound like. So when I hear a rap track, I'm not gonna pretend like I'm this huge rock head, because I'm not. But when I hear hip hop and rap, I'm like, that's what it's supposed to sound like. I can hear if the beat is off. I can hear if, the flow is off. I can hear, I can hear it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm so used. I've been listening to this sound for over 20 plus years. I'm so used to it. So when I hear this, I'm like, that's not, that's not it. But for Madness, I was like, he's got something here. He's got something here. He's got something. Go give it a listen. Go give it a listen. I'm dead serious. Go give it a listen. There's something there. So I think that he's on the right track. This is the point I'm trying to make. He went from taking this trap sound that is too inspired by other individuals instead of inspired by himself, pretty much stealing the trap sound, making a whole album off of it. Horrendous album. Goes to a second album, starts breaking out that trap, a little bit of trap, but then he's going into this pop sound, uninspired pop sound, but at least he's experimenting, he's trying something different, you know what I'm saying? And then out of nowhere, he accidentally made this gem. It's this gem, accident, by accident, I don't know. And now he's breaking out of that, and now he's starting to be himself. And I think that's the problem with Thick of It. I think that's the core issue with Thick of It. I think that the reason why Thick of It was so clowned at was because KSI, let's call it for what it is. Let's be honest. A lot of people don't have respect for him, and a lot of people see him as a cringe individual because he does tend to do a lot of cringy things. Like, for example, if someone's like, KSI, you stink, he'll be like, stink like what? Your mother's butt. And be like, what? It's cringe, so people don't take him seriously. So now that he's being himself, just itched my ass cheek, right? I'm going to itch it again now that I just threw that out there. You heard that? Yes, itching my right ass cheek. Now that he's being himself, he's a cringe individual, so therefore his music would be cringe. But it's nowhere near as bad as his earlier stuff. But if I had any advice for KSI, this is my advice from on a musical level. Look at that auto-tune and get as far, just run away. Wherever auto-tune is, run in the opposite direction. Stay away from auto-tune. I would say to get away from trap. Get away from trap. Trap is not for you. Certain people can do it, certain people can't. You can't do it. You can't do trap. Don't do trap. Don't do auto-tune. Stay away from the Kids' Choice Awards music. The oh, put your hands in the da-da-da-da-da-da. And you know what? I don't think you can be bar heavy either. Because I've heard your albums. You're not crazy lyrically. I would say try to take a more simplistic scheme, right? I'm not expecting some Jadakiss, fabulous levels of punchlines, or the Lil Wayne wittiness. That's not what I'm expecting. But at least try to play with the syllables more. I think that's something you should do. I think that's gonna be easier. Play with the syllables more, but don't go with the rap god stuff. And paint pictures. Tell us something about. I think that's one thing. Tell us something about yourself. This is something I starve for as a listener to hip hop and rap. Tell us something about yourself. What is something that we don't know? I think that's what your next song should be. Tell us something that we don't know. What is something about you that we don't know as people? You know what I'm saying? How was your comeuppance? You know what I'm saying? Tell me something about you. Tell me something. I don't know what subject matter you're going to hit on. I don't know. I mean, M made his entire, there's parts of his whole album where it's like his first album was about, pills and getting bullied. And, then he had these, visions that he was creating with his brain coming out. It was crazy album, right? There's so much subject matter depending. Like, again, DMX preaching to God. There's certain things, they're so polar opposite in subject matter. Because once you start talking about yourself and your own experiences, no one can copy that, right? So stop being inspired by sounds that you never lived at. You know what I'm saying? You were never there. That's not your noise. That's a sound bite. Shout out Kanye. That's not your noise. That's not your neighborhood. That's not your area. That's none of that. You are not from there. So you kind of sound goofy when you try to spit like that. Like, imagine a dude from New York trying to make country music. They'd be like, yo, he's weird, right? You don't know. Like, why are you trying to make country music? That's weird. It's not going to work. Or a dude from Australia trying to make a reggaeton. It doesn't work because you don't fundamentally understand that music. That music comes from a place of experience. It comes from a place of living that. It comes from a place that is more than just, I like this sound, so therefore I make that sound. It's got to come from a place of, that's me. That's who I am as the individual. And I think that the sooner you understand that, the better your career will go. And I think Madness and I think Thick of It, I think Madness was a great step in the right direction. I think Thick of It was the step in the right direction. You did fall on your ass. Like you were in the right direction, but you fell and banged your head. I'll be honest. You were going to the right direction, but you took a misstep in the right direction. Madness was a good step in the right direction. So you're going down the right path. I think that you just need to get your footing and find more of your style. Just find your style, and I think you're gonna be better off there. Just stay away from trap. Stay away from the blah, like you're on some ladybug ride. Stay away from that shit. Otherwise, there's something there. There's something there. I'll be staying tuned. I'm gonna stay tuned with KSI. I'm not gonna hold you. I want to see where this goes. I genuinely want to see where it goes. I'm gonna pay attention to his next project. His first project, horrendous. Second project was bad. It wasn't like the worst thing. It wasn't ungodly. Just again, too inspired off of everybody else's sound. Doesn't have a sound. Thick of It, I think he's discovering his sound. And we'll see how his sound evolves. Let's see how his next project sounds. So I'm your boy Cole Raven. Let me know in the comment section if you agree or disagree. I'm going to catch y'all later. Toma! Peace.